It was one of those bitter winter nights when the cold seems to cut straight through your coat, your bones, your thoughts. Snow drifted across the sidewalks in slow, lonely curls, and the streetlights flickered like they too were shivering. People hurried past with their heads down, just trying to get home. No one wanted to stop. No one wanted to notice. But 9-year-old Lily noticed. She tugged at her father's sleeve, her mittened hand shaking. "Dad," Shez freezing. Her dad, Ethan Walker, successful CEO, single father, always in a rush, followed Lily's gaze. And there, curled up against the wall of a closed cafe, was a young woman in torn clothing, her knees pulled to her chest, her face hidden behind messy strands of hair. Snow had collected in her hair like salt, and her lips were a frightening shade of blue. That was the moment when everything changed, though Ethan had no idea just how far that moment of kindness would ripple across the years. But what happened next? No one could predict it. Before we dive deeper into this emotional story, make sure to subscribe to our channel Kindness Tales, where we share heart-touching stories every week. Don't forget to leave a like, comment your favorite moment, and help us spread kindness across the world. Ethan wasn't the kind of man who slowed down for anything. Not since his wife passed 3 years earlier. He had built a company from the ground up, raised a daughter alone, and convinced himself he didn't have time for anything else, not even his own grief. Kindness wasn't something he avoided exactly. It was more like something he forgot how to practice. But Lily had always been different. She had her mother's heart, gentle, alert, full of compassion. And when she looked at the homeless woman huddled on the sidewalk, she didn't see a stranger. She saw a human being who needed help. "Dad, please," she whispered. Ethan hesitated only a moment before stepping forward. "Ma'am, are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman lifted her face. Slowly, and Ethan felt something twist inside his chest. She was young, maybe 25, with sunken cheeks and eyes that carried a mix of fear and exhaustion. Her voice trembled. "I'm fine. I just need to rest." But she wasn't fine. It was clear she could barely keep her eyes open. Lily knelt beside her without hesitation and wrapped her scarf around the woman's shoulders. "You're freezing. My mom always said nobody should be cold alone." Ethan swallowed hard. His late wife Megan had indeed said that many times, and now Lily was repeating, back to the world. "Come on," he said softly. "We're taking you somewhere warm." The woman tensed. "I don't want trouble. I can manage. I just don't have anywhere to go." Ethan shook his head. "You don't have to manage alone." He helped her stand, and she swayed slightly. "What's your name?" Lily asked gently. "Grace," she whispered. They brought Grace to a small 24-hour diner 2 blocks away. The waitress stared when she saw her, but Ethan gave her a look that stopped any judgment. He ordered soup, hot chocolate for Lily, and tea for Grace. At first, Grace barely touched her food. She kept glancing at the door, as though afraid someone might throw her back outside. But Lily chatted with her like they were old friends, asking her favorite color, whether she liked dogs, if she wanted extra marshmallows in her tea. Slowly, Grace relaxed. Ethan listened quietly, trying not to pry. But eventually the truth trickled out in small pieces. She had moved to the city chasing a dream, lost her job, then her apartment, then her savings. 1 bad month turned into 2, then 3, and suddenly she was sleeping on benches, eating whatever she could find, and trying to stay invisible. "What about your family?" Ethan asked gently. Grace shook her head. "Long story. I haven't spoken to them in years." Lily placed her small hand over Grace's. "You're safe now," and for the first time that night, Grace smiled. Ethan didn't know what to do next. He wasn't used to letting strangers into his life. Yet something about Grace felt different, like she was someone who had been knocked down again and again but never lost her softness, something his daughter already adored. He couldn't send her back out into the snow. "I have a guest room," he finally said. "You can stay there for a few days until you get back on your feet." Grace stared at him, stunned. I can't. You don't even know me." "Maybe not," Ethan replied. "But my daughter does, and she trusts you." "That's enough." Lily grinned brightly. "Please say yes." Grace's eyes filled with tears. With a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Okay." The next few days were awkward but warm. Grace helped around the house, cooking breakfast, cleaning dishes, folding laundry. She insisted on earning her keep. Lily followed her everywhere, chatting nonstop, showing her drawings, asking her life advice. Ethan watched them bond, and something inside him softened. His home, which had felt so heavy with grief, now held laughter again. One evening, he found Grace quietly washing dishes, humming to herself. "You don't have to do all this," he told her. She shook her head, smiling faintly. "I want to." He gave me a place to breathe again. Ethan hesitated before asking, "What was your dream?" Before everything went wrong? She took a deep breath. "I wanted to work in marketing. I had some internships. But life happens." "Life does happen," Ethan agreed, "but sometimes it gives second chances." One morning, Ethan surprised her with a crisp folder. "What's this?" Grace asked, confused. "Job openings at my company," he said. "Entry level. You can apply for any of them. I can't guarantee anything, but I can get your resume seen." Grace's hand trembled as she held the folder. "Ethan, I don't know what to say." "Say you'll try," he replied. And she did. Weeks passed. Grace applied, interviewed, and finally was hired. She worked hard, harder than anyone expected, and her creativity unmatched. Within 6 months, she earned a promotion, then another. She became a mentor to younger employees, someone everyone respected. But through all the success, she never stopped being the gentle woman Lily loved. She attended school plays, helped with homework, braided Lily's hair before bed. She became family. Little by little, Ethan realized he was smiling more, laughing more. Life didn't feel like a series of obligations anymore. He and Grace talked at night, shared stories, healed wounds. Something tender grew between them, slow but deep. Something that felt like hope. And Lily saw it before either of them did. "You like her?" she teased her dad one night. Ethan turned red. "Lily, it's okay, Dad. Mom would want you to be happy." His breath caught. "You think so?" Lily nodded. "And Grace makes you happy. That's all that matters." 2.5 years after the night they found her in the snow, Ethan took Grace to the same diner. The waitress remembered them instantly. "This place saved my life," Grace said softly. "No," Ethan replied. "You saved ours." Her eyes flickered. "What do you mean?" He reached across the table, taking her hand. "You brought joy back into our home. You brought laughter into Lila's life. And you reminded me what kindness feels like." Grace's eyes filled with tears. "Ethan." He pulled a small velvet box from his coat pocket and set it on the table. Grace gasped. "I don't know where life will take us," Ethan said, voice trembling. "But I know I want to walk it with you. Grace, will you marry me?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was small and warm, just close friends, co-workers, and of course Lily, who insisted on being the flower girl even though she was already 12. When Grace walked down the aisle, Ethan wasn't the only one crying. She looked radiant, steady, no longer the broken young woman they had found shivering in the snow. She had rebuilt her life piece by piece, and in doing so, helped rebuild theirs. After the ceremony, Lily hugged Grace tightly. "Promise me something," she said. "Anything. Promise you'll never forget that night." Grace knelt so their eyes met. "I'll never forget," she whispered. "It was the night someone saw me when no one else did. The night kindness gave me my future." Lily smiled. "Dad says kindness circles back." Grace squeezed her hand. "He's right. It always does." Years later, whenever people asked Ethan and Grace how they met, they always laughed softly before sharing their story. The story of a freezing night, a frightened woman, a little girl with a big heart, and a small act of kindness that changed 3 lives forever. And every time, without fail, someone listening said the same thing. "That's beautiful. I wish the world had more people like you." But Ethan always shook his head. "No," he'd say, "the world just needs more moments of kindness. They matter more than you think. Because kindness doesn't just warm hands, it warms lives, it builds families, it rewrites futures. And it can start with something as simple as noticing someone who's freezing." Thank you for watching this heartwarming story from Kindness Tales. If this touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power we all have to change lives with one simple act of kindness.